Hello.
Mr. Prime Minister, I'm Jane Eisner, Editor-in-Chief of The Forward, and it's my pleasure and my privilege to present to you the members of the Jewish Media Summit of 2016.
Hi.
We have in the room here journalists from 50 journalists from all over the world, about a third from America, half from Europe, and from elsewhere. These are the top journalists in Jewish media.
What are
in
the elsewhere
planet.
countries?
The other countries,
Yeah.
I think we have Australia,
Turkey,
Turkey,
Romania,
Austria.
First of all, sit down, sit down. Yeah. Go
So
ahead.
it's my understanding that you want to present a few remarks to us,
Sure.
and then we'll ask some questions.
Yeah. Welcome. Do you have any questions? Ask me any question you want.
In that case,
Yeah. Go ahead. Ask
well,
questions.
I'd like to ask you the first question.
Mhm.
So you have really been a very staunch defender of Jewish people all over the world when they have been victims of
Are you going to ask me about
anti-Semitism.
anti-Semitism, the Kotel reform movement? What are you going to ask me? Come on, get on with it. Move.
So Jewish journalists in America have been victims in this presidential campaign of unprecedented attacks from what we call the alt-right, white nationalists. And at the Saban Forum, where you spoke on Sunday, you seemed to say that you weren't as concerned about it, that it was a fringe phenomenon. And I'm wondering whether anti-Semitism from the right is different from anti-Semitism to the left. And when we see this new anti-Semitism,
Is this a
really,
speech or a question? No, I'd like to hear your, but what's the question? Go ahead.
So what will you do to defend Jewish journalists in America, and will it affect your relationship with the Trump administration?
Look, first of all, I think that anti-Semitism is a fringe phenomenon in the United States of America. It's when it appears on the ultra-right or appears on the ultra-left, it's a fringe phenomenon. America's built differently. In the history of anti-Semitism, which is unfortunately a chronic disease and dates back roughly 2,500 years to the beginning of the Hellenistic period. If you like, my father wrote some historical works about the origins of anti-Semitism and its development. So it's a long disease, it's a chronic disease. By the way, it doesn't always require Jews. You can have anti-Semitism without Jews, as we see. But while it took root in many lands, and it's still taking root as we see in Europe, I think the United States is different. It's got a different ethos, and therefore the development of anti-Semitism, and you see it, masks itself as anti-Zionism in the ultra-left, and it's obviously, it's open and naked on the ultra-right. I don't think it's, what I said is exactly what I meant. I don't think it's something that has taken root in the heart of the American polity, and I think the values of the United States go against it strongly. I think it should be fought on any side, but I wouldn't, this is my own opinion. Of course, it's the responsibility of each government anywhere, in Europe, in the United States, in Latin America, anywhere to fight the manifestations of anti-Semitism. But I really think that that's a realistic assessment of the degree of this problem. But at the same time, I would fight it. I would fight any manifestation against Jews, journalists or not. You know, journalists are Jews too. But suppose you attack Jews who aren't journalists. I mean, it's the same. I view it as a similar problem and a similar responsibility.
Well, thank you. You mentioned the Kotel, so I will.
After you ask me all these things, I want to tell you, I'll tell you a few things. You might ask me whether something is changing in the world about Israel. What about Israel's isolation? You've got to ask me about that. If you don't, I'm going to ask you. Israel's growing isolation in the world. We have to talk about it. Go ahead.
But a lot of people are wondering why you haven't been able to break the stalemate on the compromise on the Kotel, which your government brokered and said would start to be implemented in January.
Right.
Can you give us an assurance that it will actually begin?
Look, we tried. Let me give you a small lesson about, not a lesson, it sounds lecturing, but nevertheless, I want to impart to you something that is true about our political system. It works in fits and starts. It starts and fits. Example, the most important example that I can give you, what's our flagship issue in the last 2 years?
Iran.
No, domestic. Domestic. No, not. It's domestic issue. Domestic is a small matter of natural gas. We discovered these huge fields, okay? And we couldn't get them through. This was a main thing that we had to do. Get billions and billions and billions and billions of shekels, hundreds of billions, lying in the seabed, and I want to take them out. And I made a commitment. I made government decisions. I said I'm going to take them out, and I couldn't get them out. How long did it take us? A couple of years. It took us a couple of years, even though I have a coalition, I have a majority. Why? Because parts of my coalition said, yeah, we'd like to do it, but we can't. Okay? And therefore it was held up and finally got it done. We arrived at a similar situation here with the, the Kotel decision, and there was backtracking, which happened, okay? And there was then, I would say, equal opportunity provocations coming from both sides, which made it much harder to solve. So in order to pass something, you need a majority in the coalition, and that's not easy to come by. It's not easy to do. I've managed to do this over the years, sort of fits and start, but you move forward. And when I say that the Kotel is the wall for all the Jews, I mean it. When I say that Israel has to be the home of all Jews, I mean it too. But it's a process. Today I laid a wreath in the grave of David Ben-Gurion, and in a very moving ceremony. And Ben-Gurion was the first prime minister of Israel who had to deal with this issue, with the issue of religion and state, if you will. And you know what he said? You know what he ended up doing? He said, there's no way that I can resolve the clash of principles between the Jewish, the Haredi view of Medinat Halacha, or something akin to it, and the secular majority's view that sees a different way. And so what he did was he fashioned a series. He said the only way we get through this is to have a series of evolving compromises, which should change over time. That's basically what Israel did on this question. And the reason it's so difficult to do is because national identity and religion are intertwined in the Jewish people. They're intertwined. You can be German, but you can be Protestant or Catholic, okay? And you can be Catholic and be of different nationalities. But among the Jewish people, nationality and religion are intertwined, certainly in the Jewish state. And it's very difficult to separate the two. And I don't know that we should. I think we have to go in this direction of evolving compromises. I've tried to do that not only within the state, but also between the state, between the arrangements that we have here and the rest of the Jewish people. I did this on Biyuvim, on conversions, when I set up the Imam Commission. I did this in the Kotel when I set up and there we succeeded to move forward. I did the same thing, it took us a while too, and I did the same thing with the Sharansky Commission. But we have, it's going to take time. It's not so easy to do. I think we'll resolve it. I hope. It's not. I'm telling you the truth as it is.
Thank you, Mr. President.